Something tells me you can be quite savage.
Strange things happen there, especially to those who cling to hope.
Just imagine. You're framed for a crime you didn't commit and sent to the world's most dangerous prison. The story begins in 1931 in Paris, where a clever man named Papillon lived. He was an expert at opening any lock. One day after a robbery, Papillon handed the stolen diamonds to his boss. The boss, suspicious, asked, "Did you keep any diamonds for yourself?" Papillon denied it completely. But then, the boss showed him a man who'd been badly beaten and threatened him. "If you lie to me, you'll end up like this." Papillon said nothing. Later that night, he went to his girlfriend, Nanette, and gifted her a necklace made from the diamonds he had secretly kept. A man nearby noticed the necklace in Nanette's hand, silently, secretly watching. Papillon and Nanette spent the night together. She begged him to leave this life of crime. Papillon dreamed of building a small house far away with her. But their dreams were shattered the next morning. When the police raided their home, they accused Papillon of murdering the same man who'd been beaten by his boss. The police arrested him, and Papillon realized there was no use trying to explain himself. They wouldn't believe him. His only option was to escape from prison. Inside jail, Papillon met another prisoner named Juliet. Juliet told him, "You'll need a lot of money to escape from here." Then he pointed to another inmate, Degas, and said, "He can help you." Degas was a wealthy man, but he'd been caught making counterfeit money. Soon after, all the prisoners were transported to a place called the penal colony by boat. During the journey, Papillon approached Degas and said, "I can protect you in prison if you give me money." But Degas refused. That night, a prisoner sleeping next to Degas was brutally murdered. The man had hidden money in his stomach, and someone killed him to steal it. This terrified Degas. The next morning, shaken by fear, Degas agreed to Papillon's offer. However, he wasn't interested in escaping. He believed his wife would get him out legally. That night, the same killer who murdered the other prisoner came to kill Degas. Just as the man was about to strike, Papillon intervened and saved Degas' life. He beat the attacker, but the guards discovered the fight and punished Papillon harshly. The next morning, the prisoners finally arrived. At the penal colony, Juliet, desperate to escape, injured himself on purpose so he'd be sent to the clinic, which had less security. He planned to escape from there. Meanwhile, the new prisoners were brought into the main jail, filled with dangerous criminals. The warden was equally ruthless. He told the new arrivals, "Escaping from here is impossible. Don't even try. It'll be better for your health." Then he warned them of the consequences. "If you try to escape, you'll spend 2 years in the torture chamber. If you try again, 3 years. And if you try a third time, you'll be sent to Devil's Island, where everyone goes mad. If you commit murder," he continued, "your head will be chopped off in front of everyone." The prisoners were given heavy labor, lifting stones, hauling loads under the burning sun. After a few days, Papillon met a boatman who said he could help him. The boatman told Papillon to meet him by the riverside the following night. However, a dangerous prisoner overheard the plan and betrayed Degas for money. Papillon managed to handle the situation, fought back and saved himself. Degas saw everything and realized that without Papillon, he wouldn't survive even a single day in this prison. Left with no other choice, Degas decided to join Papillon in his escape plan. The next morning, all the prisoners were gathered in the field. It was revealed that Juliet had killed 2 guards during his escape attempt. Within moments, Juliet's head was severed from his body. He was executed on the spot. Seeing this horrifying scene, every prisoner was shaken with fear. The warden then ordered Papillon and Degas to carry Juliet's body to the crematorium. On the way, Degas suddenly started vomiting. He had never seen a dead body before. But there was no mercy for him. A guard approached and barked, "Lift the body." When Degas refused, the guard began beating him brutally. Papillon couldn't stand watching his friend being tortured. In a fit of rage, he picked up a stone and struck the guard on the head. Papillon ran, but poor Degas was paralyzed with fear. He couldn't even move. Later that night, Papillon approached the boatman, the one who had promised to help him escape. But as Papillon requested the boat, the man suddenly burst into loud laughter. Papillon turned around and realized he was surrounded by guards. It was a trap. The boatman had been secretly working for the warden, selling information about escape plans for money. Papillon was dragged back to prison. The warden told him, "The guard you struck with the stone survived, so you'll be spared from execution." execution, but Papillon was still punished, sentenced to the dreaded torture chamber on another island. Inside that chamber, Papillon was confined to a small dark cell. He wasn't allowed to make a sound, not even talk to himself. If he broke that rule, he'd face extra punishment. His meals were nothing more than thin, tasteless soup. The isolation was unbearable. One day, he found a coconut in his food. Inside the coconut, a small piece of paper that said, "You'll receive coconuts every day." Papillon quickly realized they were being sent by Degas, his loyal friend, risking everything to help him survive. For a month, Papillon lived on those coconuts. But eventually, the warden discovered it. He demanded to know who was sending them. Papillon refused to speak. Furious, the warden ordered him to serve the rest of his punishment in complete darkness. Now Papillon was plunged into total isolation. He couldn't see. He couldn't hear. The silence was suffocating. Hunger gnawed at his body. Loneliness devoured his mind. Over time, his condition worsened. He grew so weak, he could barely move, his sanity fading. Eventually, he became so frail that he was moved to the hospital for treatment. By then, Degas had earned the warden's trust and was working inside the prison itself. One day, he visited Papillon in the hospital and made a shocking discovery. Papillon wasn't mad. He had been pretending, faking insanity to escape solitary confinement and returned to the main prison. Once reunited, Papillon and Degas began planning again their next escape. This time, they decided to include 2 more prisoners. Papillon chose a strong inmate named Clougiot, while Degas picked Matt, a timid man often bullied by others. Degas handed all his money to Clougiot, who used it to buy a small boat. The following night, while the prisoners were being shown a movie, the 4 men decided it was time. As part of the plan, Degas approached the officers watching the film and offered them alcohol. He had cleverly mixed a drug into the drinks and waited for the right moment to steal the key to the main door. Meanwhile, Papillon, Clougiot, and Matt waited anxiously in the shadows. Suddenly, it began to rain. The lights went out. Clougiot whispered, "Let's run now." But Papillon refused to leave without Degas. Just in time, Degas arrived, keys in hand. Taking advantage of the darkness, they unlocked the main door and fled into the night. They ran until the path ended, and the only way forward was down to the riverbank. Papillon, Clougiot, and Matt jumped without hesitation, but when Degas was about to jump, the lights suddenly came back on. Overwhelmed by fear, he lost his balance and fell, injuring himself badly. Degas couldn't walk anymore. Clougiot insisted they leave him behind, but Papillon refused. With Matte's help, they carried Degas to the riverbank, where the boat was waiting. Without wasting a moment, all 4 climbed aboard and disappeared into the darkness. Hours passed at sea. As dawn broke, Clougiot realized something alarming. They hadn't made much progress. He calculated that the boat was too small to carry the weight of all 4 men, and to make matters worse, a fierce storm was approaching. Time was running out. Suddenly, Clougiot turned to Matt and pushed him into the sea. Then he turned toward Degas, ready to do the same, but Papillon intervened. A brutal fight broke out between them. Clougiot, strong and ruthless, nearly overpowered Papillon. Just as he was about to kill him, Degas, summoning every ounce of strength left, stabbed Clougiot from behind. Clougiot fell lifeless. They threw his body into the sea and managed to pull Matte back onto the boat. Moments later, the storm struck. The sea turned violent. Waves crashed. Darkness swallowed them whole. They lost control of the boat. When Papillon regained consciousness, he found himself on an unfamiliar island. Some locals had spotted them floating at sea and saved their lives. A nun approached Papillon and said, "You're in Colombia." Papillon turned to Degas immediately. "We have to leave this island," he urged. "If we stay, they'll capture us again." But Degas, exhausted from years of running, said softly, "If you want to go, go. Our deal is over." He had had enough. Enough of escaping. Enough of pain. All he wanted now was peace. Papillon then went to Matte, hoping to convince him to escape together. But Matte had fallen for one of the island women and refused to leave. Realizing neither of his companions would join him, Papillon decided to escape alone. But as he prepared to leave, he spotted officers approaching in the distance. The truth hit him like a wave. The clever nun had betrayed them. She had informed the police. Papillon ran back to warn Degas, but it was too late. The officers caught them both. In the chaos, Matte was captured and tragically shot dead. Papillon and Degas were sent back to prison. After 5 long years in solitary confinement, Papillon was transferred to the infamous Devil's Island. When he arrived, he was shocked. Degas was there too. It turned out the officers had discovered Degas' role in drugging the guards during their previous escape. He had been sent to Devil's Island long before Papillon. the two friends were overjoyed to finally see each other again, after 5 long years. That evening, as they sat by the seashore, Papillon shared his new plan. He said, "I'm going to build a small raft out of coconuts. The ocean's waves can carry me to the other shore." Degas hesitated. He looked at Papillon and said quietly, "Brother, do whatever you want, but leave me out of it." He explained that he had lived peacefully on this island for the past 5 years. His wife had remarried. He had no one to return to, no life waiting for him, so he decided to help Papillon build the raft. On the morning of the escape, the two friends hugged tightly. One last time, Papillon smiled, threw the raft into the sea, and jumped onto it. The waves carried him away, toward freedom. By sheer luck, the plan worked. Papillon drifted farther and farther, until he was nothing but a small shadow on the horizon. Degas stood by the shore, tears filling his eyes, watching his friend disappear into the distance. And with that, Papillon's incredible journey finally came to an end. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing tales. See you in the next one.